All right, and welcome to the final system video slash final major update for the Will of the Curse, a Jujutsu Kaisen TTRPG. This is also technically our 1 year anniversary slash our 1K video. We kind of just compiled it all together because I really didn't want to make a separate 1K video, so we're doing this. Also, technically speaking, this is the KFC breakup update, if you saw in our Discord, because we are officially no longer attached to 1C. We've done our own thing. So because of that, we had to update a lot. So this is going to be probably our last major updates, because we added everything. I mean, there's going to be small updates like changes to curses. The shops are definitely going to get more stuff added to them. And like, there's just going to be more stuff, but there isn't going to be anything to
and when Jujutsu Kaisen 2 comes out, we'll definitely update with the Fuji's and Megumin's son.
Can't Fear Your Own Jujutsu comes out, we're gonna have to update a lot of shit. So yeah.
Yeah, you know when we have to rework entirely how new Shadow Style works. That's gonna be
whenever we get the third explanation for new Shadow Style, oh yeah, it's gonna be real bad.
All right. Y'all not ready for Bougie? Bougie.
Bougie, if anything, it'd be Megami and spoiler character children with how they're setting that up in the second. You can tell
it's Fuji and Megumin. Bougie Fushigura.
Okay, so this is Will the Curse, a Jujutsu Kaisen TTRPG created by me, Houseman, Justin, M, and HH, and we got major help with Skittle, Singularity. We should probably also just add eventually the community, because the community helped us change a lot of stuff and add a bunch of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, feedback is great.
We'd like to give
to talk about
special thanks to the My Hero Class 1C system and just like Parahelia, Silent Yell in general. They are the basis for this system, and they are the ones who okayed us to use their same stat block systems, some of the XP shops, so on and so forth. Like, they are the reason we were even able to do Will the Curse in the first place. And they are the reason we are able to use some of their ideas. So please go check them out, as they are the ones who started all of this effectively. Welcome to Will the Curse, a Jujutsu Kaisen TTRPG. The system was heavily inspired by My Hero Class 1C, and some aspects of that system were taken verbatim. But we talked to the creator of the system, as we said before, blah blah blah. Let's get to the actual meat of the system. So, the system is going to be very fast-paced, action-heavy, all that. So to mimic that aspect of Sorcery Fight, we put a lot of focus on PvP and how RP affects PvP with stuff like Philosophy of Sorcery. On top of that, something we realized real quick is this is a fairly rules-light system, as the system itself kind of doesn't have any hard set rules on certain stuff. A lot of times the DM is going to have to go, this is how I rule it, or yeah, this is how it's going to work. Especially when it comes to CT creation. As CT
curses
creation
as well, because like we don't have like a monster manual. Like,
and curses. We don't have
also quick thing, this system is much better played online on some sort of D&D thing.
Yes,
like
yes.
You're
gonna be rolling unless you have like 10, unless you have like 20 d6 on you at all times. You're gonna want to play online where you don't have to worry about carrying around like 66s everywhere with you.
Especially because I know no one likes sharing their dice. None of you people like sharing your dice, and you're weird about it.
If you're looking for a good website, owlbear.rodeo is pretty decent. And I can use that.
Not sponsored.
We're not sponsored.
It's so decent that we spent like 30 minutes in an episode because its characters kept deleting themselves.
I think that was because of an extension with not Owlbear. I think that was just the extension was glitching. Anyway,
yeah, we love you, Owlbear.
First off, before we get into the actual system, like fully, Shield time. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, if you're on this channel, like, comment, and subscribe because I'll probably be releasing a how to create a curse uh video at some point. Also, if you see on the channel the character creation video, that video is still good. The only thing you have to just disregard is the XP portion, because other than that, it's basically the same thing. Anyways,
Yeah, and remember that 25% of the viewers are not subscribed. So we can increase that percent. I don't know. I don't check that. I don't know this channel.
anyway,
I'm free labor.
here's the
It's
keywords.
too many percent.
Here's the keywords. We got sure hits. Sure hits is an effect that makes an attack treat the target's AC as if it was 0, effectively never missing. The attack may sometimes be undodgeable depending on if it's a new shadow sure hit or a domain expansion sure hit. Those will be explained more on their individual slides. We got CT for curse technique, DE for domain expansion, PL for power level, SL for speed level, TL for tech level, IL for intelligence level, and then CL for... Where's my mouse? I forgot I'm in full screen, so I
Probably,
can't check that.
probably a bad time, but like we should probably add like RCT and.
Yeah, we'll do that
stats,
eventually.
like-
We'll do that eventually.
Oh yeah.
Somebody explain the stats and substats.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Leave this to the charismatic one, okay? So you see, okay, you got 5 stats and substats. These are, everyone knows what a stat is, okay? You're playing an RPG, you know what a stat is. I don't have to explain that. Substats are basically subdivisions that when you roll something in the system, you roll a number of d6 related to the level in your stat. Your substat of what you're rolling gives you certain bonuses.
Like for example. Okay, go ahead.
No, you go on.
Well, okay. For example, in the speed stat, you will find the reflexes substat. If you're asked to roll reflexes, you roll whatever level you have in speed. So, like for example, if you have a 3 in speed, you roll 3d6, and then you add any bonuses you have on reflexes. So, like for example, a +3.
Yeah, if you're a weirdo who has a lot of stuff in reflexes for some reason.
While being a speedster, how dare you? Anyway, we got
Shut up.
power, speed. Speed and power are your main form. Well, power is the main form of how you're going to hit people with combat, which any physical attack you roll combat with. That includes weapons, martial arts, some CTs. You roll combat to hit. On top of that, to block, you roll power straight, which means unless it says you get a +2 power directly, you just roll it straight to block.
Let's wait for it. Yeah, let's explain reactions when we get to them. Like,
Yeah,
let's
we're-
not get
Yeah.
ahead.
We'll get there when we get there, all right? Speed. Speed
Yeah.
is the main stat. This determines your movement speed. There's also what you roll for dodge, and dodge works the same way as block. However, you take 0 damage instead of half damage like block. We'll explain that when we get there. Technique. This is the main...
Okay. Oh, wait, speed. You forgot to mention precision. Speed
Oh.
is the stat you want to go for if you want to be a ranged fighter. Mainly if you want to use ranged weapons or like throw stuff or some CTs. But CTs are mainly about technique. The
Yeah.
next slide. So let's.
Yeah,
go.
technique is very important for everyone who wants to do anything mystical. Technique is your technical skill, and the most important stat there is talent, which relates to your ability with jujutsu, your ability with anything jujutsu or sorcery. Basically, if
Yeah.
you're boring, get high talent.
In other words, 90% of curse techniques or any jujutsu skills that have their own attacks, they roll talent to hit. So if you want to be a fucking, I guess a gojo, you gotta have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
technique.
also
by
talent
itself.
is the big difference from the last update, because in the last update we still use control to hit and all that, but now you use talent for that. Control is just control now, so you don't have to go roll control non-CE, so don't include any of your CE bonuses you got for control. It's actual talent.
Yeah, additionally, we added talent as a subset because it's having 3 substats makes leveling, which we'll get to in a bit, very easy. So it kind of needed to be done.
Yeah, I'm the only one that cares about intelligence, so let me do this. Intelligence is the most important stat in this game. Don't quote me on that. It defines your well, how smart you are, allowing you to see better, allowing you to figure out things faster, and allowing you to heal better with medical education. No, this is a joke. Okay, everyone wants to have powerful characters, but in a campaign, you need at least one person that can actually understand what's going on.
Yeah,
I
especially for
cannot
like
stress this enough.
perception, because you really need perception whenever the DM goes, "All right, guys, roll perception," because either you succeed this and you're
Yeah.
okay, or I'm about to stab you through your heart if you fail this.
You
You
don't
really
want
need
to.
This is
somebody
a
You don't want
rule.
to be caught
This is a
lacking.
rule for every single TTRPG.
Look,
Have
Gojo had
someone
low
good at
perception.
seeing something.
Teen Gojo had low perception, and look what happened to him. He got stabbed in the head. So
Mhm.
don't have high
Yeah.
perception.
I will say though, pro tip for those that don't know: if you're smart in real life, you don't have to have a high intelligence in the game. You can just figure out
Yeah.
techniques by
Oh yeah,
yourself.
if you're this is for in-game intelligence. Yeah, you don't have to have it. If you're but like we know you guys are not smart. So
You are
we put
Jujutsu
this in there
Kaisen
for you.
fans. Cooperation. Cooperation is a
Mhm.
very. This is the social class and also the combo stat. The main thing you want to focus. Well, okay, deception is here. Deception is very important because that is how you do some
Lies?
version of sneak attacks.
Yeah.
Because in our system, sneak attacks aren't just you roll
We'll,
stealth
we'll
and then
explain
stab
sneak
someone.
attacks when
we'll get
when
to,
we,
we'll
we'll
get
get
there
to
when
it. We'll get to it. Okay, cooperation is for everything social. I would argue cooperation has the most amount of very good substats like combos. Insight is actually very good defensively and outside of combat. Deception, of course, is really good, and charisma
Yeah.
and persuasion are really useful to have. Another thing, always have someone who's good at social encounters in the party. Okay,
Always try to have like a
always.
2-in combo so you can act in cooperation so you can actually do
At
combo
least.
stuff.
Yeah, like cooperation's pretty cool, guys.
Dice rolling. Justin, you made this slide. Explain it while I go get more water because I'm currently dying.
Yeah, this is unlike most TTRPGs with it, not unlike the most popular TTRPGs like Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, which we roll d20. We roll a set number of d6. These, as we said before, these d6 are defined by the level in your stats. And this here shows you the difficulty ranges and that you should set your DCs or difficulty class, basically the number you beat when the number you have to beat when you're rolling.
Yeah, generally
Depending on the
speaking.
amount of d6.
Yeah, generally speaking, if you want a hard roll, it should be on the hard section. If you want a medium difficulty roll, yeah, something. They're not perfect,
Yeah.
Bonuses and like advantage can skew the odds naturally a lot. So
Yeah, this
well,
it's definitely a system where you're going to have to, if you came from D&D, you're going to have to rewire your brain, like, completely to play this system like this.
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Okay.
It's fun.
Honestly, I feel like you work pretty well.
As a
Criticals.
Oh yeah, criticals.
Criticals, you roll really good, you get really good stuff. That is all you need to know, okay?
To
Now,
be specific,
if you understand probability, you may notice, wait, if I roll multiple dice, doesn't that make my odds exponentially harder? Yes.
Yes.
yeah. Yep, you
So
are
yeah,
correct.
no, you were not wrong.
Anyway, moving on to what the criticals do whenever you get it. If you critically succeed on a skill check, to the DM's discretion, you do the best results you possibly can. It doesn't matter what, you just automatically get the best results. And vice versa with failing, if you fail, you either metaphorically or physically faceplant. It doesn't matter if you're Gojo. If Gojo critically fails an acrobatics check, he faceplants. The end. Does not matter.
That's
To be fair, I
That's
feel a
right.
critical fail acrobatics check for Gojo would be like a 30, so
That's
Doesn't
generally
matter,
speaking
still
for
fail.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
generally speaking for like contested rolls, when you roll against someone else's stat, yeah, criticals don't matter as much. You don't just insta win if you get a 6 on 1d6.
Yeah, that too.
If your opponent has
That's
like
sort of that. I like to leave that up to
7d6.
the DM's discretion. If the DM
Oh,
wants to
yeah,
do,
it is up to
you succeed. You
in
succeed.
combat-
if you don't, but
if you want to do it like that.
In combat, criticals work very different than many RPGs because a critical in combat is more like, oh, neat, and not, oh my god, I'm doing 1,000 damage this turn. We have other things to allow you to do 1,000 damage. Don't worry. Don't worry,
We'll get
okay?
there when we
A
get
critical
there.
in combat,
Ugh.
yeah. A critical in combat allows you to increase the largest largest damage that you're rolling. So if you're rolling 2d6, 2d6 and 2d4, you get a critical, you get an extra d6. And yeah, that's it.
That's pretty good.
But for talent specifically, if you critically succeed to activate a CT, the cost of that move is subtracted by 2. If you critically fail to activate a CT, you pay 5 CE or half cost, whichever is cheaper, because you failed activating your CT. Usually, if you fail to activate your CT, you just don't pay anything and just nothing happens. But if you critically fail, you gotta pay some CE because, like, come on.
Because, like, damn, that's impressive. How do
Character
you even do
creation.
that?
Character creation is honestly pretty straightforward. You just gotta, well, we'll explain on the next slide. You gotta follow this pretty simple flow chart. You get, you choose your grade level. What are you starting with? AKA, are you starting with a CT, no CE, CE trait, new shadow style? Are you getting a heavenly restriction? What are you doing? Then stat distribution, however, those two are interchangeable. You can kind of do however you want. Then you choose your
sometimes
archetype.
Sometimes a build depends more on stats than character stuff. And like,
yeah. Then you choose your archetype, get XP skills, Jujutsu skills, and then you're done. If you look over here at a little helper Choso, you don't have to follow this flowchart. You can do it however you want. Just if you're new to this system, this is a good way to create characters and all that. It's a good starting point for people who are new to this system and don't know how to create characters.
That's how it works for us. It's
health,
what works for
energy,
us.
AC, movement.
I made this. Let me do this. Okay, health. Oh damn! I wonder what health is. It's how hard and how much damage you can take before you fall. Curse energy is. If you're not familiar with JJ Cage, curse energy is the physical manifestation of negative emotions. In terms of a source of energy that sorcerers use to manipulate in order to give themselves supernatural abilities.
We have a slide for that, bestie. What are you doing?
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah,
okay,
but
then if we don't get to it, we won't have to explain it. So just
mana. Okay, AC. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with y'all guys. AC. I added AC like last minute because I almost forgot it was a thing.
AC. Okay, unlike in something like D&D where AC is very, very important, in 1C, not 1C, in 1C and in Will of the Curse, it doesn't matter too much. Okay, it does matter a little bit at lower levels, because at lower levels where you're in like 2d6 and a d6, yeah, it matters quite a bit. At higher levels where you're on like 5d6 to hit, shockingly, a 14 AC doesn't matter too much. It still comes up, and like if you get to like 18, 19 AC, that's where it's like, okay, that's pretty good, but that's also very hard to get. So
not impossible, I might say.
Yeah, I mean, you can if your DM gives you like armor and stuff like
also,
that. But
yeah. Also, if you fail an AC check, you should be laughed at. You know, just
if you fail to hit someone at all, if you fail to hit someone AC, you don't hit them at all. So like,
they will mock you.
They will mock you.
Yeah.
Movement speed.
How much you can move in a turn.
Explain movement speed.
Yeah, movement isn't an action. Movement isn't an action. You can take movement how much you want, whenever your turn in any order.
Yeah.
By the way,
you can do action, movement.
Starting off. So,
this is too many words for me to say.
Starting off, every character starts off with a couple of clothes items and items they get from their class. The characters are working for Jujutsu Society because that's the thing. You don't have to work. You don't have to be like a student at Jujutsu. You could be a full-fledged professional sorcerer. You could be a curse user. You could whatever your campaign says. You can start off with whatever. You don't just have to start off as a Jujutsu.
You can be a child.
What?
You can be a chair. You can
Ah.
start out. Your character could be a chair. That's
Yeah.
completely
However,
possible.
most campaigns are probably going to start off as a Jujutsu student in Jujutsu because of that. Because of that, you usually start off with a Jujutsu uniform, which gives you +2 armor class. Either way, you should probably just reflavor it in general as a DM, so your players always start off with +2 armor class for clothes.
Yeah, because that's what we usually find best. It's like making AC matter a little bit in the lower levels.
On top of that, some characters can have unique biology or heavily restrictions, but that's up to you. Have to talk to your DM about that. You can't just show up to your DM and be like, "I want to be a Toji where I have 0 CE." It's like, wow, well, you gotta talk to your DM before you do that. Speaking of that,
Also, don't do that, but like we'll get to that.
yeah. Speaking of that, curse techniques. There are effectively 2 paths you can take. Well, technically, there's 2 paths. However, one path is straightforward, and the other path has like 10 different branches. But we're gonna start off with the simplest path, which is curse technique. You can start off with a curse technique, which your character starts with curse technique and up to 3 moves, depending on your tech level. For that curse technique, you can also choose to have what's known as a domain-based curse technique, which, as the name implies, are based on domains, the highest form of jutsu. If your CT is based on your domain, you start off with 10 more CE and can learn domain moves earlier. However, your moveset will be more limited. You may only have as many CT moves outside of your domain equal to your level in tech. Also, I just realized I forgot to put on streamer mode. Sorry, everybody, for all those constant Discord notifications. I'll fix that in a little bit. Does somebody want to explain no curse techniques while I fix that?
Sure. So, if you don't want to start with a curse technique, that's fine. We have options. You can, for example, have a CE trait, a curse energy trait, which makes your CE slightly different. If it's effect, you could look at it as a mini curse technique, except it affects your weapon attacks and your melee attacks, and doesn't really give much of it by itself. You can be a new shadow style apprentice where you start with, for example, Beidou sword draw, which is a very basic skill. You can just start by throwing hands and like not having anything, 2 fists in a dream. Or you could have your own personalized curse tool, which can really do anything like within reason. Like the curse tools can get crazy, man. But you should start with like a more basic one, hopefully. And yeah, that's
You can
very
awaken a
lucky.
CT. First off, for a new shadow, start off with Beito draw. You don't actually start out with simple domain. It's just presumably you made some kind of binding vow which allows you to use Beito draw, or like you're skilled enough to open up your simple
Simple
domain, but
domain
not
for the
long enough
attack.
for it to like actually matter as a simple domain. So you would still have to go back and learn the simple domain skill, so you can then learn the other new shadow style skills. On top of that, if you start off with no curse technique, you can later on awake a CT. However, we recommend that CT is weaker for just balancing sake because it'd be a bit broken to like start out with a CE trait and then go, oh, also I have a CE, I have a CT now. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So what was the point of you starting out with no curse technique?
It should go without saying, but like talk to your DDM about that. No, don't just
Again,
bring
this
it
is a
out at
rules
random.
light system. Like
Yeah, a
a
lot of it
lot
is
of
gonna
stuff
be
you're just
when
gonna
you are
have to
God.
like balance on the fly, change as you go to make it feel more appropriate. Grade levels. Grade levels determine how everything works. Not how everything works. Grade levels is just effectively your power level in Jujutsu Society. However, it's kind of not exactly 100% accurate because there are some cases where like a grade 2 sorcerer is weaker than a grade 3 because that grade 3 should be like grade 2, but they are not because of reasons, like political reasons. On top of that, we added grade 5. However, grade 5 is more of a thing for curses. They aren't really a thing for sorcerers. Grade 5s in these systems are more like the black suits. They can use CE, but they can't really use it at combat, so they're effectively just a citizen. Speaking of that, here are the grade levels explained. Grade 4 sorcerers are the weakest, newest sorcerers. Grade 4 is for those who join the Jutsu world with little to their name. This is the standard starting point of your average sorcerer, though reaching grade 3 should be a fairly speedy process. Like, if you start out at grade 4, you should honestly be grade 3 after like 3 to 4 missions.
Yeah, a few sessions.
Excuse me. Grade 3 are the average student of Jujutsu. They may be weak, but there is some hidden potential and much to learn about themselves and their CTs. This is where, like, a solid, like, 20% of your campaign is probably going to be spent. Like, a solid 20% of it, you're probably going to be spent as grade 3. Then there's grade 2, where, like, another solid, like, 40% of the campaign is going to be spent at
Okay, I
not
feel
even 40, like
yeah.
50% of the campaign is going to be spent at
Yeah.
grade 2, because grade 2 are above average sorcerers or exceptional students. They regularly lead missions and have far more know-how than anyone below them. A lot of sorcerers in their 30
D&D
tier, though
terms,
some may still rise above. Yeah,
yeah.
D&D
Yeah,
terms,
D&D
grade
terms, this is
2 is
like
like
your level
mhm,
level 5 to level 10. Like that's the midpoint where you can do stuff but you're not incredibly powerful where hey, I'm god now.
yeah, grade
So like
1
that's where you want.
to use D&D terms, grade 1 is like level 15, where it's like most campaigns end here as grade 1 is the golden standard of a powerful sorcerer, what all sorcerers should try to achieve. This is where most campaigns progression should end. Anything above this becomes very messy. Again, this is the level 15 of our system of this is where you should stop because anything past this level is ungodly hard to
Yeah.
balance and your characters just become gods after a certain point.
Yeah,
We wouldn't
the thing is
recommend
that
it.
the
We
thing is
wouldn't.
like you have to remember that this you're not playing with one of these guys, you're playing with three
Yeah,
or four of
because
these guys.
your player's progression
So
should be the same. Like you shouldn't have a grade 2 and then 2 grade 3s. Like that doesn't work. Unless you're doing like a
yeah,
Maki,
you're
unless you're doing like a Maki thing where it's like, oh, they're a grade 4 because of political reasons, even though they're actually like grade 2 strength.
Yeah,
you're not Brandon Lee Mulligan. You can have people at different levels, okay, and make it
Yeah,
be fun
no,
for everyone.
you would.
You're not him.
strength-wise, yeah, they should all be about the same level. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you
so
will.
that means you have to somehow balance around 3 to maybe even like 5 grade 1s, and that's not including NPCs, which should also probably be around the same level, if not stronger. So like, yeah, try to balance four grade 1s fighting a curse. That's not happening.
You ain't
Yeah,
gonna do it.
another thing we should probably mention the second semi-grade ones and this.
I was about to move on to that. Justin, take it away with special grade 1s. Oh, semis.
Oh,
Yes, you are correct. Before we get to
Semi-grade.
that,
yeah, semis.
semis. Yeah, explain semis. I forgot about that entirely.
Okay, so between each grade level, we have what we call a semi-grade level. For example, we have semi-grade 3s, which are between grade 4 and grade 3 in strength and experience. These are really more stopgaps, you could say. Like, a semi-grade 2 sorcerer is technically not a grade 2, but they're getting there. It's more of a narrative position than anything. The exception to this rule would be semi-grade 1, which is stronger than grade 2 but weaker than grade 1, which, while it doesn't, by itself, it doesn't do a lot, it does give you a second action per turn, second action per turn in combat once you reach this level. So yeah, careful about giving your players that willy-nilly, because having a lot of actions is really good.
Yeah, this isn't
I'm
like
sure you will.
this isn't a system like in D&D, where in D&D you're constantly like, okay, you level up, you level up, you level up. This is a system where you do level up a lot, but you more level up your stats, which we'll get into. Grade level up is very much a major story beat thing. We'll actually get into that in a second on what you want to do for grade level ups. But first off, we got to talk about what happens whenever you are clinically insane. Special
This
grade
is how
Yeah,
it
one.
works.
I'll take this. I'll take this over. I'll take. Special grade ones are people who go past go past the pinnacle of an average sorcerer and truly reach a status of all on their own. Basically, you're stronger than what we planned for. We don't have any set rules for special grade ones. You're just
We actually do. That's the
stronger.
funny thing. We do. If
Oh
you
wait,
read
wait.
the
Well,
bottom
okay,
line,
we don't have like
Okay.
we don't have the same rule. We don't have the same level of rules.
we don't have strict
Rules
rules.
is
Yeah,
you still have the
it's
yeah.
vague. Yeah.
You still yeah. The rules are basically you gotta follow the system still. And
Please.
Also,
please, and
Mhm.
I think that's it. I think the only actual rule we have written down
yeah.
is follow the system.
Technically
Please.
speaking, the special grade 1 is just grade 1 in canon. In canon, special grade 1 sorcerers are just sorcerers who who are at grade 1 level, but are not a part of Jujutsu Society, like, directly. So,
Yeah,
we
but
kind of
it is
didn't,
really
but,
yeah,
like,
it is really weird to put people like Nanami and for example, Kashimo on the same tier, so
or
special grade 1
Nobito.
sort of
Like,
exists.
Nobito and
Or
Nami
no,
on the
yeah,
same
or
level. It's like,
Naobito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Naobito is
Also, like,
basically the
that's just,
poster child. Like,
also, that's just, like, how the
Yeah, so
community
like
treats it. The community treats special grade 1 as somebody who is stronger than grade 1. Like, that's just how it treats
yeah,
it.
so
Anyway,
so the
time for the...
recommended stat for
So, like, special
for
grade 1s are very strong in the system. Special grades are the fucking gods of
mhm.
this system.
Wow, yeah, it's special grade. If you know anything
Yes,
about
special
JJK,
grades are
special grades
gods.
break all the rules of in canon. So in this system, if you're a special grade, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Do you?
Okay,
Yeah.
we do not
Hey,
care.
are you making a special grade? Do you want a 10 in every stat? Go ahead. Hey, do you want to have like 15 levels of imbue and do 13d4 of damage with just an imbue
average.
punch? Do it. Who cares? You're a special grade. There are no rules for you because first off, you should not be playing a special grade because special
You
grades are
shouldn't be doing. Don't do
ungodly
it.
strong. But if you, for some reason, want to make and play a special grade, do whatever
Just
you want.
go wild.
Do whatever
Yeah,
you want.
Okay,
we can't
okay,
stop
D&D.
you.
Okay, D&D rules. This isn't level 20 like D&D because D&D level 20 has rules. This is beyond level 20 because you
Level
can do
20,
that,
okay.
but no one does that.
Level 20 is like special grade 1. Special grade 1 is more like level 20. This is like level 4. Special grades are more like level 40. You could just do whatever you want. There are no rules.
And because there are no rules, we can't really balance anything around them,
The only
so
thing we
we
can
don't.
balance is we say, hey, you probably shouldn't go above 4 actions a turn, but also, you're special grade. You don't even have to regard the one kind of rules we set for special grade.
It's just a recommendation in case you're insane enough to want
Yeah,
to
it's a
make
recommendation because that's how many actions I gave to Sukuna and Gojo whenever I make their sheets. I'm like, you probably
Yeah,
shouldn't do
yeah.
more than them. Which, if you want to see that, go check out our Discord link in the description. Grade stats. You made this HH. You wanna go off?
one. Okay, so we have a lot of things here. Grade level, it's pretty obvious what it's about. Standard array. In this case, it's your stat spread. So, for example, a 3, 2, 1, 1, 1 would be like a 3 in power, a 2 in speed, a 1 in tech, intelligence, and co-op. You don't have to organize like this, obviously, but this is the general stat spread that we recommend. Point buy is okay. So first, to explain point buy, every character begins with a stat spread of 1 on every stat. You don't have a 0. You can't have a 0 in a stat. So you start at 1, and point buy
Well,
are
you
any.
can, but like heavily restriction. But that's
No,
the
you
thing.
can't, because you can't roll 0d6. That's not a thing that we support. If you want to do it on your game and if you find a way to make it work, go ahead. But
I
like
mean,
we can't,
Mekamaru, but anyway, continue.
Yeah.
we can't make that work.
Mekamaru still would have a 1, okay?
Fair.
Yeah, he would still have. Anyways, yeah, point buy is just points on top of that. All ones is grade stat spread. XP amount, it's how much XP points you have, which XP points can be used to purchase XP skills in the XP shop later. Jujutsu skills are how many Jujutsu skills you may have, which you can find in the Jujutsu skill list found later, and you gain them generally via missions. XP skill restrictions, we have different tiers for XP skills, so these are just restrictions to say that you can't go bananas and just, oh, I want to make a grade 3 with a level 5 experience skill. And Jujutsu skill restrictions are the same story. You just don't want to give them too many special grade skills, or skills are
Yeah,
at too high
I'm a
grade.
grade 3 with 0.2 domain expansion. What about it?
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Which is why Jutsu skills have restrictions. Grade promotion.
Blessed by
So
Sparks,
there are
grade
two ways to
1.
do
What the?
grade. There are two ways to do grade promotion. There's the first way, which is mission-based progression. Mission-based progression is kind of like milestone level up in D&D, where whenever you feel like your players have earned the right to go up a grade level, you can do that. You can say, okay, you go on this mission. After this mission, you will level up. You will go up a grade level, which usually that's like a in canon story thing. Like somebody from higher up will say, okay, this is your. If you go on this mission, if you succeed, you'll go up to grade 2 instead of semi grade 2 where you're at. Then there's a more technical sense, which is stat-based progression. Stat-based progression is where you effectively look at the sorcerer grade stats, and if you if your player's stats are equal to the stats they should be for like a one of these grades, then they level up. So like if they start out at grade 4 and they now have grade 3 stats, then they should then in the campaign go up to grade 3. Again, we do not recommend which one over the other. Solely up to the DM. Me personally, I recommend mission based because remember, you get second actions at semi-grade level, so it'd be kind of weird if like one person has 2 actions because they trained their stats more than another person who didn't. That's up for DM, personal, whatever you want to do. We're not going to tell you what to do. Archetypes.
Yeah, but Houseman's stupid, so like, should you really believe him?
All right.
Believe me,
Archetypes.
stats base is the best.
Shut up. We got to keep on going. We just made it to archetypes, Justin. We're on slide like 50 of 180.
Or slide 24, man. I'm not gonna.
Christ. Archetypes. So archetypes are the D&D classes of this system. Whenever you're creating your character, you will choose one of these archetypes, and you will also choose a sub-archetype. Sub-archetypes are just little bonuses you get, and they also determine what level 5 skill you will get. Whenever you choose an archetype, each archetype has aptitudes, which are permanent, and whenever you level up a stat, those aptitudes say. We will explain aptitudes and all that whenever we get to training, because that's a whole thing. So don't worry about that. Just hush your mouth. We'll get to that eventually.
You also get bonus starting equipment from your archetype, which is pretty cool.
Archetypes are based scale off of stats, so you level up this archetype based on the stat that the archetype is based on, which multi-class. So effectively, for those who want to multi-class, you will everybody has 5 slots. Those slots fill up an archetype ability. So that means if you just do one class from start to end, you would fill up all these slots. You would have no problems. However, if you multi-class, you can only fill up so many slots, and on top of that, you have to go in order. So in order to, let's say, you're multi-classing a class, you have 2 abilities in one class, but in this other class, you want to get the end ability. You want to get the level 4 ability. You have the stats to get the level 4 ability. However, in order to get that level 4 ability, you have to get the level 2, level 3 ability. Effectively, you can't just skip progression. You have to progress through each of these archetypes like you would be going through them if you only had one archetype. However, you have 2 of them, so you got to take those abilities and put them together.
So effectively, multi-classing allows you to sacrifice the higher level abilities for a lot of lower level abilities, which are generally more utility based.
Yes. On top of that, these effectively, in order to unlock the you at the start, you do not get 5 slots for your abilities. You get more slots whenever you level. You start out with 2 slots open, which are for your level 2 ability and your subclass ability. In order to get 3rd, 4th, and 5th slot, you have to level up. Now, you don't have to level up that stat specifically. Just if you level up a stat, you get another slot, which means you can fit another ability. So, like, even if you have the stats to unlock, like the, let's say, 5th level class ability, if you haven't leveled up a stat 5 times, you just can't have it because you don't have the slots opened.
Oh, you only have to level up 3 times because each level up unlocks 1 more. So you will unlock all of your slots really quickly. The question really when making a character is, do I want to wait to get the higher level abilities, or do I just multi-class right now and get everything unlocked right away?
Here are all the starting permanent aptitudes,
Mhm.
and now we go into
Yeah.
the actual classes we're stuff.
Acrob. Yeah.
If you want
Okay.
a
Can I?
deeper, hang on. If you want a deeper explanation for these, go to the character creation thing. It's in the systems playlist, so go check that out. We go into a bit deeper explanation for this. I'm just gonna talk about them. We're not gonna actually go in deep about them because we got a lot to get through. So there's acrobat,
Yeah.
brawler, brutalizer, caster, unbreakable, speedster, mastermind, swordsman, shaman, prodigy, the rebel, confident, thrill seeker, the funniest class and most base class, tinkerer, chemist, and that's it. So
Now that I think about it, why is Rebel the only one with a V? Shouldn't it just be Rebel?
whatever.
Oh, yeah,
The Death
energy.
Rebel. Also, wait, can I say something real quick?
What?
Before we leave the classes, I feel like comparing classes to D&D classes is a little bit like they're very important, but they're not literally everything like
Yeah.
D&D is. So like
Oh yeah.
your
yeah.
class is important, but it's not the most important thing. It's most
It's
similar
not-
to Pathfinder archetypes.
Yeah, your stats and
Mhm.
main, especially your CT, are far more game
Yeah.
play style defining than your class should be. Your class is more of a
Second of
complement
all-
to what you want to do.
Second of all, if you're asking for the flavor of classes, the classes are just how you fight. They don't really have flavor. I personally like to think of them as like the tropes your character embodies, but they're more mechanic than they are flavor-wise. Because the flavor is everything else. You make
Right.
your flavor.
Curse energy. Does somebody want to explain curse energy?
Is that lore? Do I smell? Is that lore?
No, okay, sure, I'll just explain it. No, it's fine, it's fine. So,
No,
curse
no,
energy.
no.
Curse energy
Oh,
is
go
the.
fuck yourself.
I said, does somebody want to take it, and then you didn't say anything. So anyway, curse
I
energy.
said, is that lore?
Curse energy is the mana of the Jujutsu world. This is where everything comes from. This is how you power your lore-wise is how you power your muscles, so you can do like insane strength feats. It's also how you fuel your CT, so on and so forth. So to utilize CE, you must make a talent check. If you succeed, you may flow it into your body part or other objects in a process known as imbuing, or flow it into your curse technique to activate it. You can imbue on a physical damage roll as well as on a successful block. By imbuing on a physical attack, you can imbue the damage by adding your imbue level, which starts at 1d4 to the damage roll. Imbuing an attack does not cost CE. You can also imbue your block, rolling your imbue level to reduce damage from the half incoming hit. However, this costs 3 CE, unlike imbuing physical damage rolls.
It should be noted also that legally speaking, in any canon and the manga, output and imbue are more or less the same thing, but mechanically here they work differently because
Also, technically, in
yeah, we
canon,
kind of have
you
to
start
balance.
out with however much CE you are born with, and that is what you get, and that is it.
Yeah, you
We're
shouldn't
not
be able to
following
get
that
more
because
CE.
that doesn't work progression-wise. So
Imagine it's like you're unlocking your wells of curse energy you
anyway,
didn't
this
have
is your
earlier.
baby, HH. You want to take over? Output, imbue, and then stacking and all that. You want to take over?
How?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank Ryu Ishigari from the manga for creating everything.
I hate him for doing that. I had to change so much because of him. Anyway, pop off, HH. I'll be back.
Anyways, yeah, as I was saying, imbuing is the more physical output. Imbuing and output should technically just be output in canon, but in this system, imbuing is for physical attacks, like imbuing a weapon or your body to attack, whereas output is more like launching raw curse energy or applying it via a curse technique. And yeah, also we have sorcerer experience. Justin, can you explain that? It's pretty simple.
Sorcerer experience represents your skill, your casual skill of a sorcerer, meaning that if your DM acts a talent check that is less than your technique level times 2, you do not have to roll, as you automatically succeed. This is basically just make so that the very that very, very, very easy checks you don't have to do. Basically, any check in the category of easy at higher levels you don't got to do.
Yeah,
Okay, if you
you
have a
won't.
decently high tech league.
No, I won't be rolling a lot of those to be fair, but yeah, it is there first play. Anyways, I don't know if yeah, House can cheat. I can't really explain it because House isn't here to change the slides, and I don't know where he is on the slide presentation. But we do have ways to level up your imbue and your output via Jujutsu skills. So everyone starts a base level of imbue and output of 1d4. You can increase each with a different skill, and the max we recommend is the max for the system rules is 2d4 for each. Obviously, if you're making a special grade, you can disregard this. Don't make special grades though. That's not wise. You're probably not going to be able to use them well. And the base DC for the base check for imbuing an object is your technique level times 2. So if you have a technique of 3, your imbue should be 6. It notably does not fall under sorcerer experience because it's explicitly below. So in that case, it would be like a 5. Not any rules, any DCs are 5 low. And I guess I'll have to wait for House to get back.
Yeah, surprisingly, in every fight someone will fail to imbue. It will happen once. I feel like it happens way more often than you think.
It happens more often than you think, but it doesn't happen that often. I'm not gonna lie.
Failures are always. Someone can always be a failure.
Anyway,
That's
would you like to
motivational
explain
advice.
stacking and coding?
Yeah, did you move the slides?
Yes.
I'm getting to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because no one other than you understands stacking and coding.
Great. That's great to know that I'm working with idiots. Anyways, imbue stacking. Effectively, if you roll when you roll to perform when you do a challenge check to perform imbue, if you have a good enough surplus on the roll to activate, you can increase the damage at the cost of actually putting C into the attack. So, for example, if I have a technique of 3 and I roll a 8, I can stack ones, so it'll cost me 3 C, and I will add an additional D4 to this attack. Additionally, you can't stack. We'll get to Black Flash when we get to Black Flash, but you can't stack on a Black Flash. C coding is a reaction of the system. We haven't now that I think about it, we haven't explained reactions yet, but effectively it's a way to mitigate damage where every 3 CE you put, you can reduce the incoming damage by 1d4 on top of your imbue or output, your base imbue or output rolls. It's a way to mitigate damage because the system is fairly squishy, and yeah, you can't how much you can stack depends on your technique level, so you gain it at every other level. So at technique level 1 you can stack once, at technique level 3 you can stack 2 times, at level 5 3, and so on. But we don't really support anything above 6 in the system, so you should only be stacking up to 3d4 on any attack or code. And yeah, that's more or less about it.
Right. Curse energy trait, my baby. So, there are rare cases where your curse energy has certain effects, such as electric or rough. These effects are usually kind of low powered and don't do a lot. However, you can eventually do a lot by leveling them up. If you start out with a curse energy trait, it costs 2 curse energy to use, period. Anytime you use curse energy and you start with a curse energy trait, it costs 2. That means to imbue.
Even imbue,
yeah,
which normally
stacking,
doesn't cost anything.
everything costs 2 more than it should usually, but that's because, again, you are giving a special trait. On top of that, these special traits can just ignore CE reduction. So, like, did that person just code an attack? Well, your curse energy damage ignores it, because technically that's not how curse energy checks work. Technically that was a Kashima only thing, but it's cool, so I'm keeping it in.
And curse energy traits kind of needed, to be honest, to be like a problem.
On top of that,
yeah, what are you gonna do? Sure? Get mad at us, huh? You little
On top of that,
over your TV screens, you're not gonna fight us.
on top of that, you can get a curse energy trait later in life, and if you get it later in life, you can switch back and forth between using your CE trait and not using your CE trait. However, because you got it later in life, it costs 4 CE to use instead of 2 CE. Now,
But you don't have to use it every time, so it
if you
evens out.
have a no CT and you have a CE trait, you can evolve / master your CE trait further via CE mastery, CE trait mastery, which allows you to do a special CT move type attack with your CE trait, kind of like Kashimo's sure hit lightning bolt. On top of that, you can take this a step even further and get advanced mastery, which these are more like max outputs and max techs, but for CE traits, these are the big boys that do a lot of damage. Anyway, speaking of that, on to curse techniques. Curse techniques, CT for short, is an ability made by Jujutsu sorcerers to better fight curses. This is where all their CE goes. They can be innate techniques exclusive to the user, or brand new, or they can be bloodline techniques shared among the Jujutsu clan members. CT can be anything and interact with any part of the Jujutsu world. These are the spells of the sorcerer. You can create different abilities, moves with your CT, and to use these moves, you would need to pass a talent check set by the DM. CTs are the most rule-light part of the system, as you are just going to have to talk to your DM, and you and your DM are going to have to just figure out what they okay and what they don't okay. This is definitely going to be a lot of thing of changing, and just don't be afraid to have to change stuff on the fly once they are already set in stone, you know?
Yeah, a
Don't be
lot
afraid
of
to do
things
so.
Oh
don't
no,
look.
I'm.
A lot of things don't
Yeah.
look as overpowered as they actually are. It really needs a lot of times you really gotta see it in action to see how strong something can be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and if you
yeah,
Yeah.
change something once, don't be
Yeah.
like, oh, I changed it once, I can't change it a second time. Yes, you can. You can change it 4 times if you have to. Like, don't be afraid to do that. Just talk to your players and talk to your DM.
also please don't try to use limitless. That's like not a good idea ever, really.
Anyway,
Oh my god,
But
so many people like, I want limitless. I want this special grade curse technique.
I don't
No.
think you should
No,
have that.
you don't.
Yeah, we don't recommend.
Shut up.
curse
Anyways,
technique types.
Get.
These aren't hard things you have to follow. Again, these are more just guidelines for people who are new to this system. There's creation, summoning, manipulation, affliction. Read those on your own time. We got like 100 more slides to go, so let's pick it up. CT move limitation. Effectively, to balance around the fact that theoretically you could have infinite CT moves, we put limits based on your tech level on how many moves you can create. Because theoretically speaking, you can create like 100 moves and have a solution for any problem thrown at you, but that's kind of boring and sort of overpowered. So we put limits on it. However, these are not hard limits. Like, for instance, let's say you're at a 2 in tech, and your player's like, oh, I got this really cool idea for this 6th and 7th move, but I can't do it because I'm at a 2 in tech. Just let them do it, you know? Just let
you
them
can
do
let
it.
them do it. Yeah.
Who cares? It's more so preventing people from having like who have a 2 in tech to have like 10 techniques. Like, if you have a 2 in tech, you should not have 10 moves, you know? Like, that's just way too much for your
Mhm.
level.
Yeah, these are just recommendations for balancing to make the process a bit faster because the system can
Yeah.
take a lot to balance. So yeah.
Also, it
Yes. Curse technique moves categories.
also it adds like creativity to it, because now you kind of gotta like combine moves into one thing instead of just like, I've created 10 different moves that all do like one thing and that's it. It's like, no, instead of doing that, it's like I created 3 moves that each do like 3 different things, which is a lot more fun and unique than just an overmass of abilities, you know.
CT moves are the similar things. These are less rules and more things to help you make a curse technique. The only thing that's super important here is curse technique reactions, because they do have unique interaction with the system. The rest are just.
We'll explain reactions when we get to reactions in like a little bit once after reaction economy. But yeah,
The rest
basically
are
your
just general
CT.
forms of CT moves that
Yeah.
how it manifests and gives recommendation of how you balance it and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here
effectively,
is
just
this is for people who like need help balancing. This just like, if you're a grade 3, here's how much damage you should be doing. Here's how much they should cost per damage
Yeah.
wise. Same thing with range. You don't have to follow these. These are just general guidelines for people who need more
Mm-mm.
help. Chanting.
Yeah. Yeah. A general. Yeah. Wait. Before we move on, a general
Jesus,
thing is
man, we
that
have to
while
go. We
like a
have to
low
keep moving, man. We're already at like an hour.
fine.
Okay, chanting. You can spend an action to chant, and you can change how you can make a move stronger, or you can add an extra effect to it, or add more range to it. It takes a few. It depends depending on how many actions you take chanting. The more it can it can buff a move, and you will always succeed on activating a move when you chant it because you're taking time to do it. And yeah, that's about it. Make a cool
Also,
chant.
actually chant. Don't just go and then they chant. No, come up with the chant and actually say it, coward. Do it.
Be cool, man. It's cool as hell. You're not gonna be super, but like, come on, you can try.
Advanced curse technique application. So,
Yeah. You have. If you're playing a JoJo character, you have to do the aura.
yeah. So,
That's
advanced curse technique application. So, these are advanced forms of your basic application of your CT. Extension techniques work a little different in our system compared to canon. In canon, extension techniques are literally anything that is just not the base application of the ability, but constantly having to say extension technique blank or it gets a little boring. So in our system, extension techniques are effectively offshoots of the main CT. So like resonance, collapse, soul manipulation, flowing red scales. They have the same concept and same activation. However, what they do are different, but kind of similar to the base CT. Then there are max outputs. Max outputs are just
Okay,
you.
so I think of
Oh my god.
thinking of it is like if you have a one ability, your extension technique would be to create ice.
Yes, yeah, effectively. If you have a I didn't hear you at all. You cut out, but yeah, if you have a water CT, your extension technique would be I can create ice effectively.
or
Max
something.
outputs. Max outputs are you putting as much CE as you possibly can into one big attack. To use the water metaphor, if extension technique is turning the water CT into ice, the maximum output is turning your water CT into a pressure washer or like a power hose, effectively.
Yeah, these are special moves that you need a Jujutsu skill to get, and as such, you also need you need it to be in a specific grade level. I believe it's semi-grade 2, correct?
Yes.
But yeah, basically these are strong moves that you can use, and in exchange you gain C exhaustion, which is a debuff that is explained later. We recommend they do a given number of damage die plus the user's technique level plus their output times 2. Specifically output times 2, not the whole thing times 2. Just don't be crazy.
Yeah. Next up, I went to the bottom. God. Okay, next up
Maximum
is maximum
techniques.
techniques. These
More of
things
us.
are the pinnacle
Yeah,
of Jujutsu that is not domain expansion. Again, to use the water CT, if extension techniques are turning the water CT to ice, maximum outputs turning into a fire hose. Maximum techniques is like summoning a ocean or like condensing the water into a black hole or something. That is what a maximum technique. It is the technique at its maximum potential.
it's like a super. It's really good. Anyways, yeah, recommends a certain number. We recommend a certain number of D12s to make them really have a lot of impact. Plus the user's technique times 2 plus output. Same as maximum output. Maximum techniques need a certain jujutsu skill to be learned. And yeah, you kind of it's for balancing sake. And they do give more C exhaustion than a maximum output would.
And then, uh,
C exhaustion and CT burnout.
you got this. I'll be back. Sorry, I keep on leaving. This is so scuffed, but you got this. Not.
Yeah, it's fine. We that's what we have trade outs for. So C exhaustion. Okay, so legally speaking, in Jujutsu Kaisen, people can just theoretically spam maximum outputs and maximum techniques. Obviously, that would break a game if you could do that. So whenever you perform a maximum output or a maximum technique in this system, you gain a C exhaustion for a few turns, which effectively gives you forces you to roll anything related to CE, so namely talent, at disadvantage, which is pretty bad, but definitely manageable. CT burnout is something that causes you to be completely unable to use your curse technique for a certain period of time, and you gain them via have opening your domain expansion and then having it close, be it from a domain clash or external forces or just completing the domain itself. And yeah, awesome. Damn. I'll go ahead and explain the next slide because I can, because it's just explaining what happens when you run out of C in the system. Whenever you run out of C, you cannot use any Jujutsu. Obviously, you cannot kill any curses unless you're using a curse tool, and any martial arts damage or hack you do is halved because you can't reinforce your body for it. It's really bad, and you don't want to be. You have 0 CE left, and it is different from having a heavy restriction like Tojis or Makis, which robs them of C because their bodies are naturally gifted to compensate for that. And yeah, that's about it.
CT training.
I wanna.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, just I was gonna keep it with C, but I guess you know.
You're gonna keep what?
I was gonna tell you that I did complete depletion, but go on.
Yeah, I was listening. Curse
I didn't
technique.
put it.
So curse technique training. Uh, Curse techniques are the most fundamental way for a sorcerer to exercise a curse spirit, and as curses get stronger, so should a sorcerer CT. To get stronger, a sorcerer must excel at subtracting. Strong sorcerers can run their CT at its maximum efficiency without the loss of too much power. To this end, a sorcerer can train their CT effectively by lowering its CE cost and train its potential by raising its max damage. So what you do is, as a DM, you set up training sessions or just time slots in the day where players can go and train. During these time slots, they can either decide to do four things. They can either train their stats, train a new CT move, as in try to create a new one, or they can reduce the cost or increase the damage of an already pre-existing CT move. The way they do this is the DM set the DC, they roll their talent, and if they beat that DC, they get 1 point in progression, and the DM also sets up how long or how many times they need to succeed to unlock, to either train up the CT or to create this new CT. Next up, positive energy. Reverse curse technique is the application of negative energy times negative energy, which creates positive curse energy, or RCT. Positive curse energy is mainly used to heal yourself, but it can also be used to heal others if you learn the non-self-targeting RCT skill. On top of that, if you learn the non-self-targeting RCT skill, if you attack curses with it, it does double damage. It does the healing damage times 2, the healing roll times 2 as damage to curses, because positive curse energy destroys curses. On top of that,
Yeah, it's really strong. And you also need a skill to learn our reverse curse technique. It should be noted.
Yeah. On top of that, technique reversal is where you apply positive energy to your CT, making it do the inverse. Not all techniques can do this, as some techniques can't reverse themselves, or the effect of reversing themselves would be incomprehensible, but you can do technique reversal. Binding vows. Binding vows is a pact made with oneself or another. If you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, you know what binding vows are. We don't need to explain binding vows. They work the same way. Heavily restrictions. Heavily restrictions are restrictions put on one's body or CE whenever they are born into this world. These are things you can give to your player. You can give yourself if you don't want to start with like a CT, or if you want a special kind of CT like Mekamaru. These are things you are very much going to have to talk to your DM about, because heavily restrictions can be insane, game breaking, campaign ruining. They can be insane. So you're gonna want to be careful with these heavily restrictions.
Yeah, likewise, you cannot turn off a heaven restriction. Obviously, they're compared to binding vows, but you cannot ever stop following them.
Also, theoretically, you can level up a heavily restriction, kind of like Maki did, but that's not a. That's a thing you're just gonna have to figure out by yourself as a DM because we are not
It's
making a
kind
slide
of
about that.
it's kind of impossible to balance it, in our
Yeah,
opinion.
Shikigami.
Well, hard to balance for like a general system. You can do it on your own campaign. Feel free to do it. So.
Right. So, Shikigami. Shikigami are non-innate techniques formed by Jutsu sorcerers. These are these are just they are usually a part of your CT, and they're the summons. They're the summons of the Jutsu world. They do whatever you want. They can be anything you want, and usually their power level. Usually Shikigami's stats are just curses minus the whole can heal themselves with CE, and their grade level slash strength is based off of the user. Usually it's one grade level lower than the user, but that's up to the CT, up to the player, so on and so forth. The only thing you really need to know about Shigami is that they do not count as allies, so they are not affected by certain abilities that say, it, uh, if you have an ally or your ally can blank.
If you have, yeah, namely for archetype abilities, but you can still combo with your Shikigami.
Yeah, you can still combo with them, and I think you can still use like my best friend and stuff like that with them. But yeah,
Yeah,
for cursed corpses, Justin didn't put a lot of thought into it. Well, no, he did put a lot of thought in it.
we did.
He put a lot of thought
What do you
into it.
mean?
Just
There's so many words here.
I meant to say it's not really finished yet, so I'm just kind of gonna breeze by these. Cursed corpses are things you can spend time building to create.
Basically, if you want to make a robot in this system, you want to make a cursed corpse,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's gonna take a lot of training sessions. It's gonna take a lot of materials. It's gonna
I'm
take a lot
alive
of
again.
time. But yeah, it's
Yeah, cursed corpses are basically undead robots or servants you can create in the system. You can use
not
them for
undead,
combat, or
but
you
like,
can use them for some sort of manual labor.
Yeah.
so yeah, they're
Training
very
and level.
versatile, and likewise, because of that, you can't really. It's hard to give an example of one, I guess. But yeah.
Training and leveling ups. Also, for cursed corpses, don't make a panda. Not every cursed corpse should be a panda. If you do, uh,
Don't?
seek mental help. Anyway, here's the thing we've been talking about for so long. Training up slash leveling up stats. Aptitudes are a way to mark progression. Sorry, let me start. Naturally, should one seek to grow, they must work for it. Stats are leveled up via training sessions. To train a stat, one must first select a given subset, then roll said subset, seeking to be a DC set by a DM. Should they succeed, they've done a successful training session and are closer to gaining an aptitude. Aptitudes are a way to mark progression on a character growth. On a character's growth. Passively, they offer a +2 to whatever subset the character has them on. To gain an aptitude, one must first do a number of successful training sessions equal to the current value of the stat associated with the subset, i.e., a person with a 1 in power needs to train those subset only once. A person with a 3 in speed must train them 3 times. Critical successes on a training session makes the current session worth double. If you can't, like, you can't go over with this, so you can't have, like, a 5 out of 2, not 5 out of 2, you can't have, like, a 2 out of 1 in a subset training. Not how that works. It's just you don't get the double. Sorry. Once you've gotten aptitudes in every substat of a given stat, said stat levels up and all non-permanent aptitudes are lost. Beginning the process, a new leveling up a stat also gives you XP, which can be spent at the XP shop, which we will get there. And the amount of XP you gain from leveling a stat up is equal to the new stats level. This was taken just directly from 1C, so go check that out, as they gave us permission to do this.
1C is pretty cool, yeah.
Training time slash free time. This is where A DM should usually give players time slots, and it should usually be about 3 time slots a day: morning, afternoon, evening, where 2 of those are used for laborers training, such as power, speed, technique, or CT, and the last one is for lighter tasks such as intelligence, cooperation. Do whatever you want with this. We recommend 3 time slots a day. We recommend the thing I didn't mean to move the whole thing. We recommend this. However, you can do whatever you want. Just make sure to give your players some needed downtime. This isn't like in JJK, where the character's given no downtime and time to interact. So don't be like Gege. Give your characters time to talk and interact to each other and grow.
Oh, yeah, don't be like Gege. If someone plays a woman, don't kill them off for most of the series.
Speaking of combat and action economy. So, as soon as you start combat, you roll initiative with tempo,
Which
so
is a
you just
subset
add
of
your tempo
speed.
bonuses. Actions are quite simple. Actions are just anything you want to do that the DM defines as would take up enough time or is significant enough that it would count as an action. You start off with 1 action. However, whenever you reach semi-grade 1, you gain a second action, and special grade sorcerers get however many actions you want because they're special grades. On top of that, everybody, including special grades, only have 1 bonus action, which a bonus action is an action that is used for less important stuff, such as like handing over items or activating some CT abilities. These bonus actions, most like actual actions, refresh at the start of your turn. On top of that, there are hold actions. Hold actions are where you say, I want to do this action after this happens. However, at the start of your turn, if that hold action did not go off, then just nothing happens. Basic actions. Some basic actions are attacking with jutsu skills or martial arts. As we said before, any physical attacks, including weapons and some CTs, roll combat to hit. Any range attack, including weapons and some CTs, roll precision to hit. Most CTs, moves, roll talent to hit, so on and so forth. It should be noted that when using a curse technique, failing to meet your DC to activate it effectively wastes your action, though you don't lose CE from it.
Unless you critically fail.
Some other actions are using items, stealthing, which is where you roll stealth versus somebody's perception, and if you beat their perception roll, then you are hidden and nobody can see you. If you are in the line of sight of somebody, it takes an action to stealth. If you are not in the line of sight of somebody, it takes a bonus action to stealth. Dashing, you can give up your action in exchange for doubling your movement speed.
Yeah, basically you can move
Here's
twice
the
in
big
a single.
reaction economy. Somebody want to take over for that?
Oh boy. Okay, so whenever you're targeted by an attack that beats your AC, or rather meets or beats your AC, you don't have to take it straight like in I believe D&D works like this, right, Justin? You just have to take an attack. Justin isn't here. Okay, so anyways, doesn't matter how.
I was across my house. Yes, in D&D, once the attack hits your AC, it just hits you, and you take the damage. There's
this
some
system-
reactions, but they're not a lot.
Okay, in this system, you can react to just about any attack if you have reaction. If you have enough reaction, you have as many reactions as you have levels in speed. So a character with 3 in speed has 3 reactions. A character with 4 has a 4, and each reaction costs 1 reaction to use, obviously. And okay,
except for fringe cases,
rolls to
we're not getting to those fringe cases.
Yeah, rolling to resist an attack, a status condition of attack or secondary effect does not cost a reaction, but it does. For example, blocking an attack does cost a reaction. Additionally, you can only react in one way to an attack, like before it comes your way. So, for example, you cannot block and then try to dodge an attack, or you cannot code an attack and then try to dodge it. You have to choose one, and if you fail that, unfortunate. If you don't have any reactions left and an attack comes your way and it hits your AC, unfortunate.
Yeah. Reaction economy continued. We already kind of explained this. This just goes in more detail about what those do.
Yes.
Read this on your own time.
Blocking.
We got
Okay.
read this on your own time. It's pretty yeah. Blocking just halves damage. Dodging, you take 0 damage if you succeed, but if you fail, you take 1.5 times damage. Leaping, you jump in front of an attack, going at another opponent. Coding, we already explained that, so we're not re-explaining that. Status conditions. Status conditions are things you can give to other players, or your curse techniques can do, or your martial arts can do.
Effectively debuffs.
Status additions. If you played any kind of video game, you know how these work.
RPGs.
Yeah. So there is all these. We're not going to talk over them because again.
Yeah, these are mainly
one-
templates. You can use them for reference. If you want to make your own, you should try to make your own because a lot of CTs have varied effects. And if any martial arts on the list that has one of the references one of these, you should use what we say here for that.
Curse tools. Curse tools are weapon and support items used by Jujutsu sorcerers that are purposely imbued with CE for a long time. They can come as simple weapons or objects people use or need for their curse technique. Curse tools are different from random objects one imbues CE into. Curse tools are something where it does, if you have, effectively, curse tools make it so you do not have to imbue to kill a curse. Because since they are already imbued with CE, you can just attack. If you attack them with a curse tool, they die. If you were to attack them with a normal weapon, the curse would still be around. However, we still recommend you do imbue these curse tools, as well. Yes, you don't need to imbue them to kill a curse. If you don't imbue them, you lose on the damage. You lose on the imbue damage. On top of that, curse tools are graded, much like sorcerers. However, any curse tool with a CT is automatically called a special grade curse tool. However, that does not mean they have to be at the special grade level. Strength-wise, just if they have a CT, they're a curse tool. Curse tool creation. The way to create a curse tool is by create a curse tool / give it your CT is by just continuing to imbue it over and over again until it is ingrained into the weapon. There are rules here for it. Pause the video, look at it, or go look at the system. Why do you not have the system pulled up? Are you stupid? Curse tool damage. These are just recommended damages per the grade level. Again, much like CT damage and stuff, you do not have to follow this, as this is just general guidelines for what you should do. Martial arts and weapon arts. All right. This series is called Sorcery Fight for a reason. So because of that, there are a lot of unique ways to punch and kick that isn't just punch or kick. On top of that, same thing with weapon arts. There are a lot of unique ways to use weapons besides just slash or slash, but from the right. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Weapon arts. Weapon arts are special, effectively effects you can do with a weapon in your hand. Weapons have attempts per combat you can use. These are weapon arts any weapon can do, period. These are weapon arts specifically for bludgeoning type weapons, slashing type weapons, shooting weapons, aka like guns, bows, arrows, stuff like that. Yeah, these have a lot because shockingly, guns kind of need it. Rage kind of needs it because, yeah. Then martial arts. Martial arts is going to be your main way of combat because not a lot of people use curse tools as, again, sorcery fight. So, martial arts.
Like throwing hands.
Yeah, martial arts do damage based on your physical stats such as power, tech, speed, so on and so forth. Yeah. Martial arts. Oh, on top of that, all martial arts roll combat to hit unless they say roll deception or stealth to hit, which these then you would have to roll deception versus somebody's, like, roll deception or stealth versus somebody's insight or perception. If they fail, then the attack would hit, and you can react to that attack normally. So, like, if somebody rolled a 12 deception and you got a 10 insight, that means you can react to that. You just got to beat that 12 deception effectively treat that 12 deception like a combat roll, effectively. Here are the martial arts. There's a lot of them. We're not explaining them. Martial arts.
Please read them in your own time.
Yeah, martial arts, you gain them based on your stats. So, like, if you have a 3 in power and 2 in tech, you would get all of these plus these. Stats have cool, unlike weapon arts, where you can only use them X amount of times in combat. Martial arts, you can use them. They're cooldowns, so they are theoretically no limits to how many times you can use them in combat, unless they say once per combat. But these are cooldown based, and there's a lot of them. So yeah, read them. I will probably reorganize them soon, so they're a bit more consistent. Like tech is in the text, like all the tech moves are together, all the power moves are together instead of where they're kind of all over the place, but that will come later. Black flashes. Somebody want to explain black flashes real quick?
I'll do it. Okay, so because I was gone because the internet imploded. Black flashes is the main way you do big damage with a physical hit in the system. Black flashes in canon are basically the reality breaking itself. No one knows how black flashes are truly performed. Is it luck? Is it skill? No one really knows.
And in this system, you have.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon that
Look,
happens.
we can cut.
And cut the thing. Okay. Basically,
we can cut the flare. We can just get to it.
When rolling in view, if the numbers on the dice, so ignoring any possible modifiers or bonuses you have to roll, if the number on the dice surpasses what's known as the black flash range, these numbers. So if
meet or exceeds it, if it meets or exceeds, you black flash on that attack.
Yeah.
So if you roll
black flash range is based on your technique level.
Yeah. So the higher it is, it changes. It's more or less a 5% chance for everyone, so it doesn't get particularly easier, but
yeah. So
it's also exclusively with melee attacks, because we've technically never seen a curse physical attacks, because we've never seen a curse technique black flash, other than I guess Nanami. But most curse techniques can't black flash. It's just physical.
This is only for rolls. For an attack that have black flash, if you roll imbue or output when you're deciding that attack, then it can black flash if it meets that range. But since you don't for most curse techniques, you can't.
Also, if you black flash, do not add your bonus damage. Do not add the damage of your imbue or any stacking.
Yes.
Just add the multiplier, which also it's a multiplier, not an exponent, because if it was exponential, it would break the system in so many ways. So profound.
Anything above like 15, if you do exponential, automatically goes above 100, like automatically.
Yeah, it one shot above 10. Yeah, it one shots everyone.
Yeah,
it would be physically impossible.
What are you talking about? Doing like 200 damage off of 15 hit is completely fair.
Yeah,
anyway.
What do you mean doing 200 damage on a 2% chance of happening? That sounds totally fair and fun to play with. What are you talking about?
Anyway, black flash effects.
Yeah. Black flash
Once
effects,
you black flash, you gain a lot of bonuses. Effectively, if you black flash, you gain advantage on all talent rolls for your next for the whole round and the round afterwards. If you black flash again, you can
say
keep
till the end of the next round.
Until the end of the next round. So effectively, it makes it easier to black flash again, which is pretty handy, and it also improves your. You gain an additional level of imbue and output in case additional 1d4, which is useful in case you don't black flash but you still get some form of increased damage. Additionally, it also immediately ends an effect of C exhaustion, and if you black flash 3 times, you can immediately end CT burnout, which is unlikely but pretty nifty if you get it.
Yeah,
which you might not.
Much like Black Flash, these are extensions of what you can do with your CE. I'm not really going to go into detail about these because you can just read on your own time, and we still got a lot to go through.
Yeah,
So,
and these also technically haven't changed a lot since the last video. So
That
like,
too.
if you want to watch the last video,
yeah, Divergent
just read
Fist.
them
You can
also.
Divergent Fist allows you to lag your CE to do a kind of sneak attack damage. Destructive Fist is where you charge up your CE to do a massive amount of damage in one attack. CE
Yeah,
Discharge
no
and
one uses that.
CE Discharge and CE Blast is where you can condense your curse energy and then fire it out in a laser-like attack. Curse energy discharge is the lowest level of this, where you just shoot it off like a little pea shooter. Blast is where is effectively a destructive fist, but range, where you charge it up and then fire it. And then instant curse energy blast is where you skip the charge time of CE blast and just do a granite blast effectively. Then there are
But you're not
curtains.
Ryu.
Then there are
Our barriers
curtains.
you can make around, and they're
They're
do the
barriers.
chanting,
You
which
can
is
add
pretty
rules
cool.
to them. Do chant. You have to chant. Emerge from darkness, blacker than darkness. Purify that which is impure, or else it will not pop up because you are a lame-o and you deserve to be bullied for not chanting. Anyway, domain expansions. Oh boy, domain expansions.
Yeah. Take
Yeah,
it
this
from
is
here.
what everyone came here for, baby.
Domain expansion are the most iconic and powerful ability in JJK. A domain expansion, or DE, is an advanced barrier technique and is also the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery. It constructs a user's innate domain, a mental mindscape that embodies the mind and soul of the entity inside a barrier infused with their innate CT. A DE is activated by succeeding on a high talent check, which those talent checks are written on the DE, so don't worry about that. These things are the pinnacle of Jujutsu, and once somebody is inside a domain expansion, first off, they cannot escape unless they win a clash with their own domain. All CT attacks inside the domain are treated as sure hits, and all CE cost for the user is halved inside the domain. So yeah, they are the pinnacle of Jujutsu. And on top of that, they can usually unless they're non-lethal domains. Unless they are non-lethal domains, lethal domains usually just turn attacks into sure hits. But some lethal domains do give the user new moves to use. However, that's kind of rare. Speaking of that, there are 3 types of domain expansions. Incomplete domain expansion, which is the starting point of getting a domain expansion. Incomplete domain expansions don't have a sure hit, and they lack a barrier. So in order to make up for the lack of a barrier, they use the surroundings to make a barrier. Another thing that separates them from normal domain expansions, every turn the user must make a talent check, and if they fail the check, the domain will collapse. Domain expansion lasts for 8 turns, and if all checks are passed, they last for 8 turns if nothing goes wrong, and the caster cannot use their CT for 2 turns because of CT burnout. It costs 5 CE, the DC is 15, and range is as big as the surrounding building is based on. Effectively, this is just domain expansion light.
Yeah, it's useful if you want to get the reduced cost on CE moves and attack anything within the radius of whatever building you're using without having to worry about your base range costs for any moves.
Whoa, we're like over halfway done. And
Halfway
we're at
there.
2 hours.
Yeah, I mean we have a lot of shops and shit,
Well, not
so
2 hours,
it's fine.
An hour and a half. Lethal domain expansion. These are the most common type of domain expansion. These domains do what I said above, which are sure hits. Cost of CT moves are halved, and you cannot escape a domain expansion unless you meet it with your own domain expansion. These are dangerous and lethal, and if you do not have an anti-domain technique and you are inside a domain expansion, a lethal domain expansion, you are kind of just screwed, as the sheer amount of damage one can output with this is insane, because you cannot dodge these attacks. You have to either block, coat, or just take these attacks straight. So yeah, these things are nuts.
By the way, in canon, you cannot block a domain attack. But we made it so that you can block these. No, you can't. Nanami was coding, not blocking.
Well, I don't care.
What?
Stupid.
Okay.
Who cares?
No, we changed. I'm saying we changed it in our things, but like.
if lethal domains were in their canon strength in the system, they would just
Yeah.
instantly
That's
win
what I'm
everything. So
saying.
for the sake of
I'm just
balancing,
saying, like, a
we made them
disclaimer. If
a
you're
bit
going like,
Also,
weaker,
okay.
but still
Also,
really
I don't
good.
think a lot of people know that you can't block domain attacks.
yeah,
but
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, they can, because that's in the description of sure hits in the series.
who reads this description of that? Anyways,
When it's explained, that's what they
power
explain it as. It
scalar brain
instantly
rod does not
manifests hitting.
count. Okay, power
No,
scalars are not
I'm not.
humans.
I'm not.
Okay, can
No,
we
that's
not?
just the
Can we get
explanation.
non-lethal domains, please?
Anyway,
For the love of God.
Jesus. Non-lethal domain expansions are completely different, as non-lethal domain expansions act like a lethal domain expansion with 4 key differences. The first is that non-lethal domain expansions don't do any damage to their target, instead creating rules that the target or the caster must follow. The caster can still harm the target, but they cannot harm them directly with the domain since it's non-lethal. Second difference is that the caster has to pay the full cost of the CTs that don't involve the DE. DE effects are free since they were already paid for with the casting of the domain. The third is that there is no limit to how long domains stay up. The domains don't disappear until the game of the DE has been completed. The fourth and biggest difference is the speed at which the caster recovers from CT burnout. It only takes 2 turns to recover from CT burnout, unlike lethals, which take 5 turns. On top of that, something that we should add that I didn't, you cannot react to non-lethal domain expansions, because the sure hit of a non-lethal domain expansion is the information getting shot into your brain, which happens at a faster pace than 0.2 seconds, and was so fast, Mr. God of Lightning Kashimo couldn't even react to it. So yeah, you cannot react to the knowledge dump sure hits of lethal domains. Effectively meaning you have to play the game as soon as it activates. You can use a anti-domain technique to reduce any of the effects from the game, but you have to play the game because it is too fast. We will probably add that in a little bit. Sure hits are sure hits, guaranteed kills, guaranteed to hit / can't miss attacks, guaranteed kills, whatever. They are attacks that cannot miss. Read this to explain it later. We've already talked about it enough. I think you get the idea. Domain clashes.
Yeah, you.
This was your baby, Justin. Do you want to talk about it? He's muted. Okay. Domain clashes.
Okay, so
are...
basically.
Go. You got it.
Okay, so effectively, domain clashes happen when 2 people open their domains. You legally cannot open your domain as a reaction in the system unless you want to rule it like that, which we don't really support that because for a lot of balancing sakes. But anyways, whenever 2 people open the domain, and whether one is already inside and it's opening as a countermeasure or something else, effectively both of you have to roll a talent versus whoever. If the difference between the two people who are rolling the versus is greater than 5 points, whoever has the highest wins, and the loser's domain immediately collapses and they enter CT burnout, and that's really bad. If it's not within 5 points, they enter a state of contested domain, where at the start of every one of the rounds, they must roll a versus again. Whoever gets higher than 2 points wins. It gets a single win, and getting 2 wins in a row wins you the domain clash. These can go on for a long time if you're not, surprisingly. But yeah, you need to get 2 wins in a row, and then you win the domain clash. And if you don't get 2 wins in a row, you just keep going. It can go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 a lot.
Yeah,
but
it goes until somebody's domain timer ends.
Yeah, or until someone wins.
Yeah.
And lastly, if an incomplete domain is clashing with a full domain, and they enter the contested period at the start of the incomplete caster's turn, they can use their domain to open a hole in the barrier and escape it, which will put them in CT burnout, but they will escape the domain, which is a worthy trade a lot of the time.
Right.
You can skip the expanded domains.
This is just extra ruling you can do made by Justin. Yeah, read these on your own time. Anti-domain techniques. So, anytime somebody opens a domain expansion, as a reaction, if you have an anti-domain, you can open the anti-domain again, unless it's a non-lethal domain, which you can't open it as a reaction due to the speed of it. Anti-domain techniques turn off the sure hit effect in some way, shape, or form. Each is unique and they do their own thing. So, simple domain is the basic way to counter a domain expansion. They turn off sure hits, meaning that while yes, you can still be hit by the sure hit attack, it's not treated like a sure hit, so they have to roll normally.
Yeah, it works differently in canon, where it just completely turns off the domain attacks. In this system, it just means that you can, for example, dodge a domain hit.
Yeah. Well, dodge a domain hit, and sometimes they just don't hit your AC. So, yeah.
Yeah, likewise.
On top of that,
Very unlikely.
simple domain can be used for new shadow style. New shadow style is a unique form of simple domain where anytime somebody enters your simple domain, you automatically attack with your hit, which that hit is treated as a sure hit, but it's called a semi-sure hit because you can dodge these attacks. However, it costs 2 reaction points to dodge the attack.
But they do bypass the AC still.
Yeah,
They
you
do
still
bypass
the
any AC. And
there are
there are a lot
forms.
of new shadow style moves. We don't gotta read all these.
There are many forms. These are the 3 that we've seen in canon. And here are some new ones we made because we wanted to make this an actual fighting style and not just you can do 3 cool things and that's it. It's like, here's the extension stuff. Falling Blossom Emotion is another anti-domain technique. This is an unlike simple domain, which just shuts off sure hits. Effectively, if a sure hit attack is coming towards you, you can expand your energy, so you effectively punch or kick the incoming attack and reduce that damage by whatever much damage you did with punch or kick. Effectively, if simple domain is sitting there and hoping they don't hit you, Falling Blossom Emotion is punching the incoming attacks.
Yeah, you can weaken the incoming attacks, but they will still have sure hit properties, meaning that they are completely undodgeable and still bypass your AC.
Yeah.
So,
there's an argument for which is better, simple domain or Falling Blossom. It honestly depends on which domain you are getting put into.
yeah, and depending on your build as well, because tankier characters can't just take it, and whereas lighter weight characters that are good at dodging would rather have simple domain.
Yeah. Then there is Hollow Wicker Basket. It's poor man's simple domain, and that's about it.
Nobody uses it.
Nobody
uses it. We've
hey,
tried
I guess
so
it
hard.
costs. I guess it costs less curse energy to use,
And it has a DC of 3
instead of
which is
yeah.
you can sorcerer experience this, guys. Please use it. I'm begging you.
Yeah. Domain. Going from that to domain amplification. Domain amplification is where you coat your body in your domain. So whenever so first off, it negates sure hit attacks similar to Falling Blossom, but on top of that, you can also turn off somebody's CT by touching them while domain amplification is active. There are rules for how this works, like it costs a certain amount of CE to use, and you reduce it by 1d4 for every 2 CE. We're not reading that. We got a lot to go through.
Effectively, domain amplification is good for any damage reduction both inside and outside of a domain, and it also lets you bypass any CT reactions by turning off the CT. The downside is that while it's active, you cannot use your own curse technique.
Philosophy of sorcery. So, every anime campaign needs a good old, I'm on the brink of death, give me a power-up. And in JJK, that is especially true because it's all about reaching enlightenment and stuff like that. So because of that, if a sorcerer is either A, in a very stressful, story-driven moment, and is at 25% or low of their natural HP, they enter an awakened state. During the state, they can roll a talent check set by DM in order to perform a new move made up on the spot with their CT, immediately learn the Jujutsu skill in their Jujutsu skill slot, we'll get there, or a technique that they were training for. This applies to NPCs as well. So effectively, if you are at 25% or low HP and the moment is right, you can bust out a new move you've been working on, you can get the skill you've been training, so on and so forth. This is the I'm gonna do something cool at low HP. Watch this ability effectively.
Also, philosophy of sorcerer is a free action to activate, so you don't have to spend an action to perform it or even a bonus action. You can just do it, and if you succeed or you fail, you can deal with that accordingly.
Next up, Skaman Sorcery. This is our version of Sneak Attack. Um, if you are stealth, or if you're going for a more stealthy type attack, you can roll Stealth or Deception, and that target will roll Perception or Insight. If the attacker doesn't roll higher than that, then they attack. Let me restart. So, after being hidden or going in for a sneaky type attack, you can roll Stealth or Deception, and the target will roll Perception or Insight. Obviously, it's based on whatever you rolled. So if they roll Stealth, they roll Perception. If they roll Deception, you roll Insight, so on and so forth. If the attacker doesn't roll higher than what the target rolled, they just attack like normal, nothing happens. However, if they succeed, then they will get advantage to hit and an extra d6 of damage plus level in cooperation or speed, depends on if you use deception or stealth. Uh, if the sorcerer tries this attack again, as in the exact same attack again, they will roll at disadvantage. But if they just want to do a sneak attack again, they do not have to roll at disadvantage. This is the
Okay.
It's a sneak attack. If you played like any uh like action games, it's a sneak attack. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
Also, if you're already in stealth and then attack, you can just immediately get a sneak attack because to get into stealth, you must have rolled stealth and versus your opponent's perception. So yeah, you don't have to roll it again. You can just do a sneak attack once you're in stealth.
Right. Somebody want
But
to
you do
explain?
go out of stealth.
Somebody want to explain combos?
Can you do
Okay,
it, Jun?
combos. Yes, I'll do combos, everyone. Yeah. Basically, this anime we like using the power of our friends. Um, if you come basically you and a partner um will attack at the same time and attack at the same time and to do this you have to beat a combo DC set by your DM based on the difficulty of the attack based on the difficulty of the combo. Generally, it should be kind of high because combos are very effective, adding an additional 1d12 to both of your damage rolls, and both of the people will use their action on that same turn in turn. Here's the things. If someone messes up if someone fails to reach the combo DC, that combo doesn't go off and they don't get to attack. Second of all, you have to combo with someone who still has an action to do this turn. You can't combo with someone who already used an action, or is only going to have an action next turn. And you more and yeah, that's it. Basically, you just attack it. You're just using an action at the same turn, on the same turn with extra damage with an ally. These combos can have special effects depending on what you do, but that's really up to you and your DM. And if you roll combo and you get similar rolls, you get special effects depending on how both your actual rolls are. That's it.
Those special effects are called combo time, which are explained here. It is to mimic the constant working together to attack effect. Missions as a sorcerer. So missions are where most of the ins and outs of Jutsu sorcery can be learned. Missions can have different levels of difficulty associated with grade level from 4 to special. Grade 4 can be some mission, basically any group who has even a basic grasp on of the basics of Jutsu ugh, could complete with medium to low effort on the sorcerer's end, while a thing like a special grade mission could very well entail the complete destruction of a section of a town and the death of many. Most sorcerers would not be equipped to deal with one without time to prepare. Missions are the main way to learn jutsu skills, which can greatly improve the repertoire of a sorcerer as they continue to learn how to refine their jujutsu. Most missions will likely have sorcerers going to a location to find an object of importance or investigate different events to track down a curse that can be taken by or assigned to the players to the DM's discretion. However, an unplanned encounter or a mission that may have started as a low threat scenario that got far more complex by certain means should be rewarded accordingly. So the mission starts off as a grade 3 mission and a grade 2 shows up. You shouldn't give them more jujutsu skills. Like, they should still get a grade 3 jujutsu skills, but like, you should probably like,
Give them a little bit more money or
yeah,
something
give them
like
more
that.
money or something.
So basically, if you want to progress your story, you give your players missions. If for whatever reason, if your campaign isn't set in Jujutsu, sorcerers or like False Curse users can have similar things, just reskinned, reflavored. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, jujutsu skills. Here we go. Jujutsu skills are abilities that you can get from the that you cannot get from the XP shop, but rather from the Jujutsu skills list. Working similarly to how study slots work in Breathe and Live. In Breathe and Live, you get study slots to put skills into, and once you meet the requirement of the skills, you unlock it. However, in the JJK system, once the skill requirements are met, the slot becomes free. Also, they're called Jujutsu skills instead of study slots. Jujutsu skill slots instead of study slots. Every sorcerer starts with one Jujutsu slot. Excuse me. And at semi-grade 1 and special grade, a sorcerer gains a new slot to use respectively. The requirements to unlock the skills are the minimum needed, meaning that you can get a grade 4 skill if you go on a grade 3 mission, or a grade 4 skill if you go on a grade 1 mission. The next slides are the complete list of skills. M helped us a lot with this. We're not going to go over every single skill, we're just going to talk about this. So, there are categories for skills, and these skills, these are the things that are going to make you strong. You get these to make you strong, and you go on missions to get these. So there is general CE buff, CT/RCT skills, general activity skills, skills for those with no CT, which if you start out with no CT and you gain a CT later, you keep these skills. However, you
can't get
can't
more
get
of
them anymore because you have a CT now. Black Flash upgrades, combo upgrades, domain-related upgrades, barrier techniques / anti-domain upgrades, new shadow style / simple domain buffs, and then curse spirit taming / curse corpse creation, which we'll get to curse spirit taming very soon. Here's all the
We
skills.
have a lot of skills.
There's a
we
lot of
cannot go
skills.
over them.
We're not going over all of them.
Please.
Just read them. XP Shop Introduction. So, after you leveled up a stat, you gain XP. That XP can be spent in the shop. However, you are not allowed to store up XP. Whatever XP you get, you have to spend immediately.
That's you can use. Okay, you forgot. You can save it, but you cannot buy an XP skill from a tier higher than your highest stat. So if you have a 3 in power, you cannot get anything higher than an XP 3 skill. And to get whenever you can use your XP immediately, or you can use it at the start of any day afterwards. So in case you're saving up and then change your mind, you can just get it at the start of your next day. So yeah.
Yeah, if you're saving up, you don't have to just wait until you level up another stat again. At the start of the next day, you can just use it. Same thing with Jutsu skills. We're not reading all these. However, the main thing that separates XP skills from Jujutsu skills is XP skills are more like general use, HP upgrades, like cooking upgrades.
These are more a lot of these are more constant buffs.
More movement. They're more like stat buffs, while Jutsu skills are more like CT buffs.
Move buffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
that. Inventory and housing. At any given time, as a baseline, you can hold up to 5 items in your inventory. Clothes do not take up these slots, as those go on your body, which those have their own things. And some things don't even take up slots if the DM doesn't feel like they deserve to take up a slot. Where you and your players sleep does matter as well. Any normal housing, like a dorm, an apartment, a hotel, or a house, allows you to keep up to 5 extra items, 10 small housing decorations / items, and 5 large housing decoration items. You can choose to bring your items out during the day, but you cannot have all these items in your inventory at once. If you do not have a good housing or non-consistent place to stay and go to sleep, you cannot have any extra items other than items inside your inventory unless you sacrifice time to sleep, turning any full rest into short rest. Speaking of rest, here they are. So, In order to regain HP and CE other than eating food, you gotta rest. So, there are 3 forms of resting. Quick rest. Entitles any rest shorter than 1 hour. The sorcerer regains 1/4 of their HP and CE, and they can only take 1 quick rest before they take a full rest. Short rest entitles any rest that lasts between 1 and 4 hours. The sorcerer regains 1/2 of their HP and CE. This type of rest requires a certain level of comfort to be successful, and depending on the situation, a roll called by the DM may be required. Full rest entitles any rest that lasts 8 or more hours. The sorcerer regains all their HP, CE, and daily abilities. This type of rest is available only by sleeping, along with previous requirements to be successful, and depending on the situation, a roll called by the DM may be required. Yeah. Exhaustion. This is what happens whenever you don't sleep. If you do not sleep, or some effects give you exhaustion, not CE exhaustion. CE exhaustion and exhaustion are different things, but like some CTs might give you exhaustion. When a character suffers from exhaustion, any and all of their rolls have a -1 penalty attached. Furthermore, any training sessions rolls they perform subtract any additional -1 from the final total. So, for an effective -2 to training rolls per exhaustion stack. Additional lead levels in exhaustion simply stack these effects further. Much like one would expect, the most effective way to recover from exhaustion is to take a full rest, which will lower your current stack by 1. Working. This is another thing you can do in your free time. DMs should set up jobs if it's like makes sense in the world. Like, shocking, if you're playing a post-apocalyptic campaign, you shouldn't let them work because that doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, here are the dice ranges. This is something they can do in their free time. Another thing they can do in their free time is fishing / hunting or gathering. This is just where you roll survival or athletics to catch a fish or like a squirrel, a rabbit, anything. This is just another thing you can do in your free time. You can also just run into curses here, which helps for if you want to tame a curse. The art of cooking. So, after buying ingredients, you can roll a dice set up by your DM, usually like survival, and depending on how well that is, depends on how good the food is. Now, by cooking food, it makes the effects of pre-existing food even better. And depending on how complex the food is, depends on how much better the effects are. So like a sandwich making a sandwich isn't gonna do as much as making a souffle. Like a souffle will give you a bunch of more effects compared to a sandwich, but a souffle is gonna be a lot harder to make. And yeah. Also, the dice you roll depends on your level. So like if you got a 6 with 2d6, that'd make the food taste average, but a 6 on 46 would make the food taste awful. If you roll bad enough, you can just straight up lose ingredients. On top of that, you may only benefit from the effects of 1 drink, 1 snack, and 1 meal at a time. Any foods after that simply replace their respective buffs. Shopping. This is where you buy food, furniture, clothes, weapons. As a DM, you should set up shops for your players to go to. We're going to expand this a lot, but here's what we got. We got food. We got furniture, electronic items.
Which, by the way, furniture and electronics are meant to give small passive buffs to your player if they have them in their houses. So, for example, a television set gives +1 gen ed, general education to everyone in the living space. And yeah.
Then there is clothing and accessories, which is something you wear that also gives you benefits. Weapons. This is where you buy basic weapons. Now, we enter our final saga, Cursed Spirits. Cursed Spirits are the enemies of sorcerers that sorcerers were made to fight. They are a collection of negative emotions given off by people coalesced in given life. Curses can be like animals, mindless and aimless, but everything a human can be, a curse can be as well. Curses have CE, HP, all that. And depending on what grade level they are, depends on what they can do. On top of that, unlike in canon, where a grade 3 sorcerer is supposed to be easily able to... A sorcerer at the curses level should be able to easily 1v1 them with no issue. We sort of changed that up a bit to be where you should win, So like if a grade 2 fights a grade 2 curse, they should win. However, the difficulty isn't just they should win automatically. It's more so a like mid-diff fight at worst. We do this
Mid to high.
to make curses a bit more relevant in the system and to keep players from like running into a grade 1 curse at like grade 3
Just shit
because they
stop
need a
them.
challenge. Yeah. So, curse spirit advantages. Due to their biology, curses can do a lot more different things than humans. Go nuts with this. This is since not every curse can have a CT. This is effectively where you're going to give them CTs, but with their biology in a sense. Curses can regenerate.
Unique move.
Can regenerate like demons and breathe and live. It takes an action, and the dices they roll depends on their grade level. It costs 5 CE for a curse to regenerate, and what they roll to regenerate is based on their grade level, which will be explained in a little bit. So, curses, depending on
Learn.
what a curse can do is based on their intelligent level. So, this isn't just like how animalistic they are, can they talk, can they not? No, this also correlates, can they have a CT? Can they have max outputs, max techniques? Can they have domain expansions? Can they do martial arts? That's all based on intelligence, and it's a neat little way to balance out curses so they aren't just mindless monsters who have like a 5 in power. To wake a curse. Curses also have a form of philosophy of a sorcerer called to wake a curse. It works same as philosophy of a sorcerer. However, they only gain curses only gain access to this at 4 or higher intelligence. Curses that can use philosophy of a sorcery are genuinely some of the most dangerous threats a player can run into. As fighting a normal curse is whatever, fighting a curse that can get stronger as you fight them is dangerous in something. It's something that could end a campaign if you're not careful with.
There's a reason why we put Mahito on this slide, you know?
Yeah. There's also a reason you haven't seen To Wake a Curse yet because of how insane it is. Next up, curse actions. Okay, something in this system I realized pretty quickly is 3v1s is not really a thing that works. So to make them work, I effectively gave curses, if you know D&D, legendary actions. These are actions curses can use as free actions. Based on their level, depends on which actions they can use and how many actions they get per turn. Yeah. Take your time to read these. These are important. Here are the Curse Spirit grade levels. Again, in canon, technically there is no grade 5, but grade 5 is there for, like, fly heads. Stuff like that. Yeah. Here's all their HP, AC, damage, CE, and C, and if they get a CT or not. We're probably going to update these to make these a bit stronger. Who knows what we're going to do with that. Here's how many stats they get. Curses have limits to how much they can put in one stat based on their grade level. This is to prevent you from putting like 4 power in a grade 3 and that's it. And it's like, well, yeah, if you have a 4 power grade 3, yeah, it's going to be insanely strong. Then there are curse wounds. Curse wounds are a unique way to use curses effectively. Think of these like the stage 1 of a boss fight, where they start off as really small, weak enemies, and then via stress or something like that, they awaken into a much stronger curse. And I'm not talking like they awaken into a grade 1. I'm talking they awaken into a special grade or disaster curse, or even in some cases, a vengeful curse spirit, if they are a vengeful curse spirit, curse wound. Speaking of
Yeah, they
curse
should
spirits,
jump like 3 levels in grade strength, more or less, right?
yes. Speaking of vengeful curse spirits are what happens when a sorcerer dies with regrets or dies without CE. Well, dies without CE and has regrets, or just if a sorcerer has regrets. One of those. These are the sorcerer's turn human, and these things are insane. They have the base stats of the sorcerer when they were killed. However, their HP and CE are multiplied by 2 and their AC by 1.5 compared to their original human self. All their stats except for intelligence are raised by 2 points, and they get all the benefits of becoming a curse. Also, in
Wait.
these stages, their CT can evolve and become even stronger due to their unique biology.
Which is horrifying. So yeah.
Because a lot of the times you're going to be dealing with, like, grade 2 or grade 1 turn vengeful curse spirits, which is, you know,
You know.
grade 2 or grade 1 sorcerers who died and become vengeful curse spirits. So, again, there's a reason nobody has. I've never heard somebody use a vengeful curse spirit in their campaign yet, because vengeful curse spirits are the strongest curse you can make, arguably next to disaster curses. Yeah, these are nuts. Curse spirit taming. I'm not going to explain this because it's a lot and we're almost done and I want to finish this.
Basically, you beat up a curse enough, you can do a ritual with them. It's a talent roll set by with the DC set by the DM. If you succeed on it, you can tame the curse and it becomes a Shikigami that you can use personally. If you fail to perform the ritual well, the curse may become weaker, like losing a few points in a set or losing some HP. And yeah, that's more or less about it, because we really don't know a lot about it, so we just
really
had to
don't.
ad-lib a lot of it.
They just show up and say, "Yep, I have a Shikigami. How did I get it? Oh no, I have it." It's like, so was it a part of your CT? Kind of. What does kind of mean? Anyways,
No, like not even that. Like the fucking ghetto worm, the Toji worm. How did? What the fuck? Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, the sound of gonging shell bells echo the impermanence of all things. Once you reach 0 HP from a fatal attack, you choose one stat to roll, removing any bonuses to that roll. You must beat a DC equal to your stat total added up. If you beat this DC 3 times, rolling it on each of your turn, or if you crit on the death save, then you are the exception and will live on. In the case of a crit, you will get back up at 1 HP to keep cursing death itself. But when you fail the DC 3 times, or if you take double your max HP and total damage, you have only a moment to know all that you were and all that you won't be. We're just another part of the curse cycle. Go south, for you are dead.
For reference, if you fail the DC like once or twice and then the battle ends, you can have your allies come in and like stabilize yourself to try and revive you, so you don't actually die. So yeah.
Yeah, we should probably add a stabilize action because we forgot to do that. But yes, you can, if your allies goes unconscious and again death saved, you can roll a medical education check so they don't have to continue to roll death saves.
Because it's really hard to beat death saves.
And here are the character sheets. Click on the links to get them, or go to our Discord where they are also linked. And
this is an example character sheet for
the system.
Some guy.
It's Gojover. We're done. That took a lot longer than I expected it to. That was 2 hours?
Yeah, that took 2.5. 2 hours or 2.5, it seems.
2 hours. We didn't start until like 1:30. We didn't start.
Yeah, I guess if we did, we would have been fine. But oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, this was kind of scuffed, and we didn't do our best explanation. So please do your reading on your own time. Do your own homework. If you have any questions, check out the Discord in the description. And thank you for 1 year and 1K subs. And yeah,
man, 1 year.
1 year. This is probably going to be our last major update, so don't expect another one of these videos. This is going to be our last video like this where we go over the whole system, mainly because I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. This was so hard. I don't have it in me.
At most it's going to be an update to how curses are made, which is going to be a video that House makes.
And if you want to see like general updates that we do, because we are going to continually update the system with like balance updates, new ideas, just don't expect anything major. Go check out our Discord where we post all of our updates there. And other than that, yeah, that's it.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. It's Gojover.